Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm here today with Callum. It's a Sunday evening. We thought we were going to knock out a nice little stream. I wouldn't say necessarily a quick one. We're on about 8:15 now. I think we'll go till about 9, and we'll just talk about basically the result from yesterday, yesterday afternoon. Everton went to Old Trafford for the early kickoff for the day. Game that I think a lot of fans, including myself, in the back of our minds, were maybe writing off and thinking, right, with the squads the way it is at the moment, with the injury problems, that it's very unlikely we're going to go there and really be able to take anything from it. If we do, it's a bonus. And I was very happy to be proven wrong. We not only went there and took something from it, we very nearly took everything from it, and I think we deserved it as well. So the final score was Manchester United 1, Everton 1. What are your thoughts on it, Callum? Did you watch the game live? Was there any particular moments of the game that stood out to you? I mean, we'll obviously come to the big talking points as we go through the stream, but what was just your overall impression watching the game?
Personally, it might sound a bit mental, but I think this might have been, besides Brighton, Everton's best performance of the season, possibly better than Brighton, because you've got to put it into context. Beating Southampton, all the other teams we've beat is nice, but we've just gone to Old Trafford and put a beating on Man United, really. To put it nicely to them, every United fan I've spoke to, they usually heads are up their own asses, but they've all said, yeah, Everton were the better side. We were lucky to get a point, and United fans are like, we didn't have Sancho, Ronaldo, this, that, starting. You've just drew with a team with Solomon Rondon and Josh Townsend and Damari Gray, a combined £1.7 million in our attack, basically. Anthony Gordon's an academy, so yeah. I think I was really impressed. I hope we can go into all games like this in the future, because we really look like a threat. And obviously, when we talk about other things in the game, we probably should have left with the 3 points. But a point against Manchester United, we're level on points with them, level on points with City, I believe, So we're 5th now in the table, but that's only because of goal difference. And going into the next game against West Ham, after they've just lost to Brentford, I think, this could be a real game where they come to Goodison Park and we beat a team like West Ham and show, this isn't a fluke like last season. We can be in and around the top 6. And like Stephen put there, with Richarlison and DCL back, we might look even more dangerous than we did in United, especially with the way players like Townsend and Gray are performing right now.
We've got an identity now that we're seeming to stick with, no matter who we go up against and where it is. I mean, some people could argue, and they probably have had a valid point, that the open few fixtures of the season, it's not hard to look organised and compact against these teams, who, especially possession teams like Brighton and the likes of Southampton, who just don't really have any sort of coherent game plan when they play. It's very easy to kind of just keep a shape and keep to a game plan and not really alter too much over 90 minutes. It's not hard to look good against these teams and to look like the manager's really having an effect. But when you're going away to the likes of Aston Villa, when they've got all their shiny new signings playing, and we were probably just about the better team for the first hour of that game, until obviously it went pear-shaped and we lost our heads and ended up losing by a 3-0 scoreline that didn't reflect the play of the day. And we're going away to Manchester United with all their shiny new signings, all these superstars that were spending 80 million on here and 50 million on here and throwing, 400 grand a week wages at Ronaldo. And we're going to these teams and we're still looking like we are here to turn up and we're here to turn you over, and you have to worry about what we're going to do. We're not just going to spend the entire game defending for our lives and looking to just get a fluky decision. I'm really, really impressed with what we've seen, and I've got faith now that this is the Everton that we're going to see for the rest of the season. Now, we're 7 games in, barring some absolutely crazy injury crisis, where we've basically just got to play an entirely second string, which is not likely to happen. And even with our injury record, this is the style of Everton that we're going to see for the next 31 games. And if this is what we're going to see, then I think we're going to be in for a very healthy points total come the end of the campaign. We got 59 last season. I mean, if we can beat that and get to 60 plus, then you'd think sure to God we'll get into the European places. And even if we get anywhere close to that, we can get 55, 56, 57. That's still, I think, a very good return considering what we've spent in the summer, what Benitez has had to come up against and work with. So I didn't see the game live, but I've seen, I think, what I need to see. I've seen a lot of the highlights. I've read the stats. I've read the post-match reports from journalists who were there. It didn't read like a typical Everton away at Manchester United performance. Too many times we've gone there over the years and just kind of I wouldn't say rolled over. I think there's been times where we've gone there and been unlucky and we've lost by scorelines we didn't deserve to lose by. But it didn't seem like we were far and away the second best team. It seemed like, if anything, we edged it. And we'll come to the late drama later on. But we've conceded the first goal. Tony Martial, I can't remember. It was around the half an hour mark.
Yeah, that sounds about
right.
Yeah,
it wasn't just before half time, and it wasn't very early either. It was about halfway through the first half. And when that happens, it's so easy for Everton to just kind of have a dodgy 10, 15 minutes where we end up going in at half time with the game wrapped up already, or just for us to lose heart and to just kind of be resorting to long balls in the second half and not really causing Man United any problems. There was none of that. It was like, okay, we're 1-0 down. So what? We're confident we're going to be able to score if we just keep doing what we're doing. United haven't proven that they're far and away better than us and that we just need to play conservatively. We didn't do any of that at all, which is what a lot of people thought we would do under Benitez, considering the defensive reputation he's got. But I was over the moon with that result. I remember seeing the 1-1 score and we were going into stoppage time. And I thought, oh my God, that's great. I hope to God that we're not hanging on for dear life and that United are peppering our goal. But when I followed the live text on the BBC, I was seeing everything that was making me smile. It was saying Everton are pressing the home side. United don't look like scoring. Everton are parked in the United half. And I was thinking, this is brilliant. We're 1-1 and it doesn't look like they're anywhere near scoring a winner. So it was just a fantastic result. I mean, we would have liked all 3 points, but when you're considering the injury problems we've got and the vast difference in resources that they've got compared to us, then a point at Old Trafford is an absolutely cracking result for Rafa Benitez and Everton, given how far he is into his tenure.
Yeah, it was huge. It looked really different, it didn't look like last season, where we played these big teams. And sometimes, like, I think of the first games against Man United, not the comeback, the first two specifically, the cup game and where they got ahead and we just thought, yeah, what's the point? Or even Man City at the end of the season. There were none of that. They scored. It were right, lads. We can break this defense down. Come on, let's get going. And Demarai Gray was, people say Townsend because he scored. I think Demarai Gray won man of the match. I actually agreed with, the Sky or BT people for once. I actually agreed with our man of the match. Demarai Gray ran that game for us, to put it simply. Even for the goal, you saw Demarai Gray treat Fred like a 4-year-old and just throw him off, which I can't say I expected from Demarai Gray. Then a good ball to Doucouré, and that Doucouré and Townsend linking up again. That's another assist for Doucouré, another goal for Townsend. I think Townsend's got 8 goal contributions in 9 games now. What I mean?
I think 5 goals, 3 or 4 assists.
Yeah,
which is far more than I thought he was going to get.
He's already got more goal contributions than I thought he was going to get in the season in his first 9 games. So, and Demarai Gray didn't get like a contribution, but once again, it's the directness. Like, to be honest, it's weird that I say now if we lost Demarai Gray, that's it. That's the one player we can't lose by injury this season. We have to like wrap him in bubble wrap if we have to keep him safe. He brings he's one of the already starting to like fly up the list of he's one of the most fun Everton players I've seen to watch in a long time now.
Yeah, because he's one of those signings who's come in and after barely, not even 2 months of being here, fans are already looking at him, as you said, thinking, God help us if something happens to him. It was the same with Idrissa Gana Gueye. It was the same with Darren Gibson for a while when he first came in. It was the same with Jelavic when we signed him. Just instantaneous impacts, and you wondered how we ever got along without him. And I mean, we spent 1.6 million on him, was it? 1.6, and they spent like 80 million on Jadon Sancho. I can tell you which one of them looks like the 80 million pound player, and it's not the one who wears red. Do you know what I mean? So Demarai Gray, with the form he's in, he should be. I'm surprised he's not made the England call up. I mean, he does. He's played for the England under 21. Does he ever play for the England senior team? Is he eligible to play the England senior team? Yeah. I think he is. Yeah. So I'm surprised. I think it's very harsh he's not made the England team. And if he carries on the form he's up now, I mean, there won't be another international break until March. January, is it?
Oh, is it March? Please tell me it's March. I don't know.
It's a good while away. Yeah, because I
can't stand international football unless it's a tournament.
After the second international break that comes in the late September, early October, like this one, every season, there's always like a good 2-3 months before the next one. And that's when everyone says after this international break, the first dozen games, that's when the Premier League season starts properly. First half a dozen games are for everyone to just kind of bed in the new signings, everyone to kind of show what they're about, teams where you can look at and think, right, that's where that team's strong, that's where their weaknesses is. This is the team where we think these are the teams we think are going to finish in this part of the table. This is where the business starts right now after this international break finishes. And Demarai Gray carries on his form, then I can't believe, you've got to believe he's got to be back in the England senior team when the next round of internationals is. But as you said, he's hit the ground running. I mean, Townsend's getting all the headlines because he's getting the goals and the assists, and rightly so. But Demarai Gray, for the money we paid for him, I mean, God knows why Bayern Leverkusen let him go. They took him from Leicester in the January.
Clause, I think.
Don't think they had a choice. Yeah, but so. What are they signing for? Like, they can't have made any profit on him.
No, they did somehow. They signed him for like 1.3, I think.
1.3? I mean, it's a shrewd bit of business by them. They've made themselves a couple of $100,000 just by giving him somewhere to live for a couple of months. But I'm sure Bayern Leverkusen and even Leicester now are looking at it. Maybe not so much Leicester because Gray was there for a while and maybe just lost his way. And sometimes it's best for a player to just get away and have get new surroundings. But if you're buying Leverkusen, I'd be looking at it thinking, oh my goodness, what we could really do with him. I can't believe we've sold him for so low, or we allowed a release clause that low. So Demarai Gray, keep doing it, kid. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Same for you, Andros Townsend. I take back everything I said about you in the summer when I slagged you off on that live stream. But other players that you mentioned, Doucouré. I mean, can you think of a better central midfielder in the Premier League right now than Doucouré?
Yeah, but I can't specifically.
Who?
I mean, Kevin De Bruyne.
Form wise, I mean, pure central midfield, box to box player.
I'm trying to think of a box to box midfielder now.
Someone who does the exact same role as Doucouré. I don't think there's anyone in better form than Doucouré.
No, right, there's no one in better form.
Yeah.
Right, off form, if we're going to go off form right now, Doucouré is one of the best midfielders in general in the Premier League, and that's just, it's a matter of fact, isn't it? You know, it's.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the best. I'm not going to start doing that because I know as soon as I say that, Doucouré breaks his leg.
Yeah.
So I'm just, but yeah, he looks like it's like, I think it's the player from Watford, very similar, but he's evolved even more. It's like he's the same game plan from what he was at Watford, but every facet of his game has got better under Rafa. And I think we knew players get better
manager now, yeah.
Players get better under Rafa Benitez. I think we know that, but I don't think we expected to this extent. Alan has turned into one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League this season. There is no shadow of a doubt about it this season. Because listen, I know people can look at stuff like FootMob and go, well, his ratings aren't too high. Because he does his job. His job isn't to get high ratings. His job is to get the ball, facilitate, get rid, and he does it really well. He's one of. It's like when we all looked at Idrissa Gana Gueye if he'd got like low scores and go, that's one of the best tacklers in the Premier League. Alan is one of the best tacklers in the Premier League, and you know it's all coming at roses this season for Everton. You know we've got the old managers managing Real Madrid, old managers managing Barcelona. We're going to have our old manager taking over another one of our old managers at Barcelona because apparently they want Martinez. And Idrissa Gueye has just helped PSG beat Man City. So I'd say if you're an Everton fan, we're winning all round right now. Clearly one of the most elite clubs in Europe. And the contributions around Europe have proven that. Let's just ignore the results Barcelona and Real Madrid are getting. But yeah, listen, I'm being happy to be an Everton fan while we've got it before we lose to like Watford and stuff. So I'm enjoying it while we've got it.
Yeah, don't jinx it, mate. Don't jinx it. But I must admit, I did get a laugh out of seeing Luis Suarez stick it to Koeman, and Carlo Ancelotti's Real Madrid lost there today as well. And obviously, Idrissa Gana Gueye hitting that belter for Paris Saint-Germain. I mean, it's going well right now, but we've got to make sure we just temper it a little bit because, as we said, it's a long old season. Injuries are going to keep hitting us, you can imagine. Teams that are in and around where we are right now are probably going to find their form. If they've not got it already, the likes of Aston Villa, the likes of Tottenham, probably even Arsenal. They're the teams we're going to be competing against this season, and they're probably going to be better than what they've shown in the opening weeks of the season, you'd think. Or we've got to assume that they will do. Going back to the players we've got again, I mean, one player who I thought looked a lot better. I mean, as I said, I didn't watch the game into entirety, but I've seen various snippets of the game, and I've seen I've read reports. Apparently, Ben Godfrey looked a lot more like his old self in this game, and now he was playing right back again, and he's not a right back, he never will be. We're just putting him there because of needs must, but apparently he looked fitter, and he was competing for everything, and it brought back, it was positive signs that when he can go back into the central of the defence, that he's going to be the player we were last season. What did you think of Ben Godfrey?
Yes, as a central defender, but it was also his fault we conceded.
Was it?
Yeah. Yes, he played a good game, and I'm not gonna have. He's just his positioning was a bit off. He was in a centre back position, but it's as we said, he's a centre back, not a right back. He wasn't playing on. But when, for example, Jadon Sancho were putting him on skates a little bit towards the end of the game, but at the same time, he just played almost a full game, and Jadon Sancho dribbling past you to then do nothing with it. It's not the end of the. But saying that, Sancho was pretty good. When Sancho came on, he looked like he was the one who actually looked like he'd have an impact. To be fair, it might sound really weird, and people who watch the game will not agree. It actually looked like Ronaldo was the one letting the attack down, not Sancho. But yeah, I think Ben Godfrey, when he's playing centre back, will notice a real difference again. I think Keane had a pretty good game. I think he gave away one chance, which made me feel like, oh, here we go again. And I think it was either a header or it was like an over the top ball, and he just watched it and someone came behind him. But besides that, clearing the ball, winning a few tackles, he did well. Mina's continuing, in my opinion. I think he's having a really, kind of a low key amazing season. Is Mina's
he's on his best run of form currently that he's had since he came to the club.
Consistency once again against United. He was, irritating Scott McTominay and stuff, almost got in a fight again. But, I think
that's what I love about him. Yeah, I love about him. He's a snide, isn't he? He's got no problem. He's a big guy. He can look after himself. He's got no problem causing no ruck, has he?
With a lot of these players, I don't think it's a form thing now. I think it's now they're finding consistency under a manager that, actually wants you to work hard. And I think why players are getting injured so early on in the season is they're not used to that. It wasn't, 1 second, I'm just reading Wormy's comment. Goal wasn't Godfrey's fault. He was left covering 2 men. Well, yeah, I might be wrong. And listen, I'm happy to admit I'm wrong. He just looked out of position from what I saw, because I looked away and then looked back for a second after having a conversation with someone and they'd scored. And it was, to be fair, even the goal, it was a deflection. So it wasn't, and people started blaming Pickford for that. And I'm not even going to get started on that because I don't think people understand how hard a deflection is to save sometimes. But yeah, it might not have been Godfrey's fault. All I saw when I looked was Godfrey out of position. So I don't know. If Townsend missed his tackle on Bruno, then, that's Townsend's fault. But at the end of the day, I think the worst thing to do is pick negatives out of this game. I think Godfrey, as I said, besides that one incident, had a fantastic game. There was one slide tackle on Martial. I couldn't tell you what minute it was in, but it was a beauty of a slide tackle. I thought this was it. Martial's through, and then Big Ben Godfrey comes in out of nowhere and, takes him out completely. But I can't fault anyone. Luka Digne's passing was a bit suspect, but then that was countered by defensively. He looked a lot better than usual. Defensively, no one was getting past him. He was, Anthony Gordon, weirdly, defensively.
He had a good game from what I heard. Everyone was saying Gordon did well.
Belter of a game. Anthony Gordon, in my opinion, has secured himself a first-team spot. Not like in the starting lineup, but there's no loaning him out after that performance. He's going to play a lot more now, in my opinion.
Yeah, everyone who I've read has said that Gordon put in a performance that made everyone sort of feel like he's arrived now, that he's not a player he was not a youth player who was trying to impress and prove he belonged here. He has proven he belongs here now, and he's a player who he shouldn't be loaning out, or if we do, he should only be loaned out to a Premier League club where he's going to basically play at the top level and make a difference for somebody, rather than just going to the Championship or going abroad and just focusing on getting minutes and not really be bothered about his output. Going back to the defence, I mean, from what I understand, everybody in the defence kind of played well. Obviously, as you said, we don't really want to pick negatives, but I'm sure one player made a wrong decision here or there. But Godfrey, I mean, he came off again, didn't he? He hasn't played a full 90 minutes yet, but Godfrey had COVID very bad in the summer. I don't think he played in a single pre-season game, did he?
Did he play United and that's it?
I'm not sure. He definitely didn't play out in Florida. He didn't play in any of those games because I remember Lewis Gibson was being used. But
maybe United, but I'm not sure.
It'll take a while for his fitness levels to come back up again, because that's the main thing about Godfrey. He's so fit and he's such a competitor. He's got it in his genes. His dad was a rugby league player, so that's where he gets all his pace and power and his determination to get ahead of people from. But when you get COVID badly, then you've got to be very, very delicate now you build players up, because first game he played of the season was against Burnley. I think he came off after an hour and he looked shattered. So he's got to obviously build his levels back up. And then he played again. Was it again? I can't remember who that was against. It might have been Villa away. But again, he played about an hour and then he came off. And how long did he play in this game? About 80 minutes.
I can tell you right now if you give me 2 seconds to quickly Google
he played.
it.
Yeah, he hasn't completed a full 94 as yet, but he's getting there slowly. So he's getting his win back. You'd think. I mean, Michael Keane needed his form's picked up from what it was in the early weeks of the season, where he was really, really poor. But he needed a solid game performance against a big name opponent like Man United away. It's all right and doing well against.
No way. No. Oh, I didn't even. Godfrey played the full 90. It says here.
Did he? Oh, well, that's his first 90 under his belt. Then even better. But just going back to Michael Keane, I mean, he's not making the same mistakes he was making in the first few weeks of the season. But it's one thing looking good when you're playing Burnley at home or when you're playing Norwich at home. You're going to be judged as an Everton player and how you perform when you go to Man United away, when you play the likes of the teams around you, like Aston Villa, and we've got, I believe, City coming up soon, haven't we? So they're the teams he's going to have to really up his game against, and he did it today. I mean, there was that one little nitpick. I think he let Cavani get off his shoulder and have the header at Pickford, and he got lucky. Yeah, he got lucky that Cavani's header wasn't the best, but other than that, Mike Keane had a solid 7 out of 10 from what I understand. Mina was immense again. He's his best run of form since he joined the club, and he's never been a player whose bad runs of form have lasted too long. The good has far outweighed the bad with Yerry Mina. I just do not understand any supporter who just doesn't rate him. The only criticism you can ever throw at Mina is that he gets injured a bit too often. I don't think he's played 30 plus. Yeah, I think this is his 4th season here, is it? And I don't think he's played 30 plus games for us in a season yet.
I think he's played 30. I feel like he's played 130 and 30. That's it. But I feel like, he gets niggles, doesn't he? He's out for 3 or 4 weeks here and 3 or 4 weeks there. But form wise, he's always been good enough for Everton. He's good enough for a team to play for a team who are above Everton in the pecking order. I think Mina could get in the likes of maybe even United's team. I mean, not now with Varane, but he'd got in it last season. Mina's better than Lindelof. I think he's better than Maguire. If Mina played, I don't know about better than Maguire because I like Maguire. I'm one of them ones who defend him. But I don't, like I said, Mina, if, for example, he probably could start for Tottenham. Mina easily starts for Tottenham.
Oh, easily walks in.
Mina, I don't know about compared to Matip because Matip's another one. I think he's better than all. I think he's Liverpool's 3rd centre back. I think he's better than Joe Gomez, but I also think Joe Gomez is massively overrated. So I think Mina has got, because I don't think Mina's still at his best yet, personally. I think Mina has still got another level to jump, and that might not be at Everton. That might be, for example, kind of like how Man City saw John Stones and were like, we know what you can become. So, for example, let's say Yerry Mina goes to Man City and plays. Pep Guardiola could get that upper level because I think he's got the tools to be a good ball-playing centre-back, but I don't think it's all together yet.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like got tools, but they're scattered around a bit. And he needs... I think Rafa can do it. I think Rafa's good enough to do it. But he needs that manager who can, or that time, without getting injured, to put everything together to be that complete modern-day centre-back. And it's something I do think he has the potential of. Because I don't think he's too old. 26 is my guess.
Yeah, and defenders don't hit the peaks till they're about... Most defenders hit their peak around 30, don't they?
Yeah, 27, but still, there's defenders who can go 34, 35, 36 even, and still play to a top level, I'm not expecting Mina to be one of the best centre-backs in the world, but I'm expecting you to look at him and a lot of teams to look at him and go, yeah, I'd have him as my centre-back.
He's an upgrade on what we've got, yeah. I mean, there's not many centre-halves who are better than him in the league. I think he's without a doubt in the top 7 or 8. When he's fully fit and he's in form, I think Mina is definitely in the best half a dozen centre-halves in this league, for me anyway. Speaking of all players who could just walk into teams, I think Toure would walk into most midfields, as we were praising him before, but I think he walks into United's midfield, Toure, based on current form. He walks into Arsenal's midfield without any problem at all. He walks into Tottenham's.
Everyone's except City's?
Probably, yeah. I mean, Liverpool have got some brilliant centre midfielders, but I think Toure could hold his own.
Thiago. you can't. I wouldn't say Liverpool because I think Thiago's got his role. I think you can't. They'll never drop Jordan Henderson and Fabinho. So do you know what? Still, every team in the Premier League except Man City and Liverpool. And I think talent-wise, he could get into Liverpool's midfield. And it's just, I said it. Our midfield's better than United's. We should win the midfield battle. It is.
Yeah, you're right.
McTominay and Fred cannot lace the boots of Alan and Decore. Fred is just a really, really crap version of Alan. Fred is Alan from Wish. And McTominay I like. I think McTominay is very underrated, and I think he played well against us. But he's not quite Decore. And I think it's just Man United, obviously, they play those two, so Bruno can do all the attacking. But Demarai Gray looked, on that game, on par with Bruno for the game. I'm not saying he's better than Bruno, by the way, before someone tries to, say I'm saying something stupid. But we won the midfield battle, and that's, if we're looking at our two central midfielders and their two central midfielders, I expect that. I don't care that it's Manchester United. Yeah, maybe if Pogba's playing, we lose it. But at the same time, I feel like Fred's such a liability, and no offense to Fred, but you shouldn't be letting Demarai Gray throw you off the ball at all. When Demarai Gray weighs what at most 7.5 stone.
I think Fred is one of those players who you look at and you think he would get nowhere near the Man United team under Ferguson. I think it was Owen Hargreaves today who said if Fred or any player allowed himself to be out-muscled by Demarai Gray like that under Ferguson, he wouldn't play for a month if he ever played again. So I don't think he's a terrible player, Fred, but he's not top 4 level, which is what United are.
He's a defensive midfielder. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but at Shakhtar he wasn't really a defensive midfielder, and it's just I think it's obvious that he is a manager.
It's just he's one of those players. He'd have his use in a certain system. He's just one of those players who keeps the ball ticking over. He's not a runner. He's not really. He's a tackler, but there's far better tacklers than him. He gets the ball and he plays the simple fast. He's the one who he's a feeder, isn't he? He's the person who's going to feed Bruno.
He needs to have midfielders who go forward around him. Like Fred and Pogba, I don't think would be too bad. I think if Fred, for example, if Fred had the Alan job of just win the ball, that's your job, that's it, win the ball. But at the same time, with strength like that, how can you trust him to play that role? It's strange to look at it now and smile and go, you know what, Everton have got a better midfield than Man United.
Well, they've got a midfielder sat on the bench there who a lot of people think is great, so they don't give the time of day to, which is Van der Beek. I mean, maybe we'll be seeing him in blue. We very nearly saw him come here in the summer.
In a midfield free.
I've got a sneaky feeling that one's not dead. I think that is a deal we'll revisit in January, and maybe we will see him come down the east flanks, but you never know.
I don't know. It depends if we're still sniffing, Man United's backside in the league table. Are they going to look at Everton as crap, these are actual league rivals now, we can't be.
True. You can't have it both ways, can you?
Because then Van der Beek, we play a game, if United win and we win, we just squeak over to finish 4th or in some miracle, and Van der Beek scores against Man City from 30 yards to secure it, just to rub it in United. But no, I don't think it's dead in the water, but I think it'd have to be a permanent. And at the same time, I'd pay 25 million for him. Because in the end, right, people say, well, what's he done at United? What's he been given the chance to do? That's the same player who helped with Frankie de Jong boss that Ajax midfield to a Champions League semi-final where they only lost due to a last-minute goal. You know what I mean? So
it's hard, isn't it, with Dutch players who come from Ajax, because some of them are the dogs, knackers, aren't they? And then some, they look like they are, and then they go to another league, and it just doesn't happen for them, because for every player you talk about, Klasan looked great, didn't he, in the Ajax team?
Yeah, I think the problem with Klasan, though, is, let's face it, is he was a 10. He was a 10, and Everton's logic was, let's sign all the 10s that are available. And then we decided we played him in a weird behind-the-cam role, and I just don't, for example, if he was a bit more physical, it'd have worked. But I don't think he was physical enough.
That was my main criticism about Klasan. He was too lightweight and he was too slow. He had vision and he could pick a pass, but he couldn't move the ball quick enough. And from what I've seen of Van der Beek, he's a bigger lad than Klasan is. He's got
Van der Beek can handle himself. There's in the Spurs game. It was a long time ago, but he was handling himself against Premier League midfielders, and I'm pretty sure that was when Wanyama still played for Spurs. So there were some big boys in that Spurs team. But yeah, I think I mean, Owen put offer them 10 million. Listen, if they take 10 million, we're not losing anything. But now, apparently, in January, we're going to go for Alan St. Maximin. So clearly, this money from James is a lot more money than we thought. But I don't know how Tim Cahill got 8 million for that man. Because Tim Cahill's an ambassador for the club James went to.
Is he?
Yeah, he was in the photos. So I think Tim Cahill's fully just like helped Everton with like an extra 15 million. We might not, Owen. We might not go for St. Maximin. It's probably just paper talk. But at the same time, if the paper talk can now all of a sudden talk about St. Maximin, and I don't think it's impossible. Not at all. I think he probably wants another winger. I think it would be a summer thing if Richarlison leaves, or probably at this point when Richarlison leaves, because I don't think Mbappe stays at PSG. And, you know, if they go down, they can't ask for 40 million for St. Maximin, because we can just laugh at them and go, we'll just wait until he throws a strop to leave. So you never know.
You never know.
Football's a weird place. I don't think any of us thought Andros Townsend would have 8 goal contributions in 9 games, or that Jadon Sancho right now would be, you know, one of the worst signings of the season if you want to go off form. So football's a strange sport. I wouldn't say, unless I'm telling you Everton are going to sign Messi for free and Messi's going to play for a Mars bar and a bag of peanuts, then anything's possible.
Well, we'll bring the subject back to central midfielders who play for Everton or might not be playing for Everton or much longer. Tom Davies, I mean, it's the talking point of the game, isn't it? Tom Davies has got his detractors, he's got his supporters. I have criticised Davies a lot on this channel over the years. I've been nicer to him the last while or so, and I have warmed to him a little bit. But what did you think of the chance right at the end where he basically had the goal gaping, and rather than take the shot on himself, he elected to play Mina through, and basically the chance to win the game was lost through that decision? What were your thoughts on that, and what are your thoughts of just Tom Davies in general at Everton going forwards? Because there's rumours that, or the story was put out that he was free to go in the summer, and he elected to try to stay and fight for his place. But if we're getting linked with other midfielders like Matty Longstaff, and obviously if we go back for Van der Beek, then it leads you to believe that Tom Davies's future at Everton is not going to last much longer, because of all the central midfielders we've got. I think he'd be the one who's easiest to get rid of because he's on a low wage. So just what are your thoughts on what happens, and what are your thoughts on Tom Davies?
Depends on the midfielder that comes in. If it's Donny van der Beek, I'd get rid of him. Sean or Matty Longstaff are not better than Tom Davies. I don't care what all 5 Newcastle fans say, man. It's just the Longstaffs, because they played one good game against United. It's just all of a sudden, you know, it's like when Tom Davies played against the 4-0 against Man City. It's the same exact thing, but he's a bit further north and has a different accent. Because in the end, my thing is with Tom Davies is, listen, he should have shot, but I thought we'd scored. I didn't click on it was offside until it was announced as offside. I thought he'd made the right decision at first. So it's a bit of an iffy one. He should have shot now in hindsight, but hindsight's 2020. He might have not noticed he was offside. You know, so yeah, I think he is a good squad player, but I also think with the amount Gabamin's injured, is it worth selling him for us to then bring another squad centre mid in, Gabamin to hurt himself, or to drive his Audi too fast again?
Let's not go there. That's a stream for another day. Forget
that's a stream for another day. But everyone knows what I'm talking about, so we don't.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, but he's not worth talking about as far as I'm concerned.
The Ivorian Darren Gibson to do that, and then for us to be a central midfielder lighter. Listen, I like Gabamin, by the way. I've always been a big fan of him. But I think Tom Davies wouldn't care if he's the 10th string central midfielder at Everton. I don't know why. I don't know why. He should care because he's got talent. He's got a lot of talent, in my opinion, still. You can see it at moments, and he works hard. But it's his boyhood club, isn't it? It's that kind of... he's achieved his dream, hasn't he? You know, maybe he thinks it's never going to get better than this for me. You know, because I said Tom Davies could easily go down to the Championship and be one of the best midfielders in that division, maybe the best. You know, talent-wise, he's definitely up there. So, you know, it's just I want it to keep him, and it's just because I like him. I really like Tom Davies. And, you know, it's like Last of the Corinthians here puts it, we had doubts over signing Townsend, so who knows how Longstaff would pan out. Yeah, Longstaff worked under Rafa before, and I believe that's where we saw the best of him. But it's probably my bias towards Tom Davies that I like the guy, and I think he's a good ambassador for the club. I think, everyone who supports Everton, if you look at Tom Davies as a person, likes him. He's hard to dislike. He's good to have around, and he's a proper blue, isn't he? It's hard to get rid of those players. So, without getting biased, I probably couldn't give you a good answer. But unless we can bring in a midfielder that's a clear improvement, then I don't think we should. It's like Dreamworld puts here, Tom Davies is an Everton man.
That doesn't qualify yet to play for Everton's midfield when Everton are talking about breaking into the top 6. But I'll offer my own view. I mean, I'll start on the incidents when he got the ball and the goal was at his mercy. And you'd think 9 times out of 10, if a player shoots there and just hits it low with power, he'd bury it. But I mean, I'm not going to hold it against them. I mean, I don't think there is any sort. When people say, "Oh, he was right to do what he did, he was wrong to do what he did," I don't really think there's an answer. There's a right or wrong answer to that. I think both options he had to him were fair game for him to choose. You can't look at it for me and say, "Oh my God, he absolutely screwed up there," because if he'd have played the ball to Mina and the ball went past him and it was not a good pass, then yeah, you've got every right to slag him off. But the ball was weighted perfectly to Mina. It really was. And it's just a shame that Mina was a fraction offside.
Really tight offside.
Yeah, I don't even blame Mina for not getting the run right. I don't think anyone should be taking any blame for that. I just think it was really, really bad. It was just, it was bad luck. Do you know what I mean? But I think what should be getting talked about rather is, why doesn't Davies have the confidence to shoot there? Because I think if he has confidence, he takes that himself. I think even the crappiest player for most other clubs, think of just a player who is really, really poor. Like, we were talking about Fred at United earlier on. We were basically saying, we don't think Fred belongs anywhere near a United team. That's Fred for United. Fred takes that on himself, his chance. If that's, I don't know. Think of somebody who's just unpopular with their own fan base. Even if that's Delph for us, that's Delph playing for Everton there. Delph takes that on. Even a player who is basically not really popular with the fan base, has got a lot of people on his back, has got a lot of people saying he's not good enough. They would see their moments there. They'd see their name in the headlines. They'd think, right, this is my chance. I couldn't ask for it any better. I'm going to take my moments and have everyone singing my name. Davies didn't have the confidence to kind of seize the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but is that not also positive on Tom Davies, if I play devil's advocate? Because instead of putting himself in the headlines, he looks at Mina and goes, because let's face it, no one knew that was offside until the VAR call. So Davies sees it and Davies thinks he's onside, right? So Davies has gone, I can shoot and be in the headlines or give Everton a goal. He chose to give Everton the goal by playing the easy pass to Yerry Mina. So
it was a good pass as well. I want to make that point. That pass he put on for Mina was brilliant. People could slag him off all they wanted to if the pass to Mina was crap and it was cut out or it went too long. The pass was absolutely gorgeous to Mina.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So listen, because people say, he's a mediocre squad player. He's this, he's that. In the end, until we can get a clear replacement, who's going to put more effort in than Tom Davies? I understand. Listen, we are now a club battling for top 6. Did we think we were going to be that at the start of the season? No. Do some of us think we're going to be that now? Some of us probably still don't think we are. They think we're going to do what we did last season. I think the worst thing we can do is to just start saying, sell him, do this. Yes, Emmy, I know it was you. I only read those exact words out because that was your comment. I just think I don't want to give up on him yet, and it's because I like him. It is. If it was anyone else, I can agree with Semi. I'd say get him out. But I like Tom Davies, and it is pure bias. I will be the first person to admit that is pure bias, and that part of me believes, like Last of the Corinthians says here, maybe Rafa could do something with him. Maybe Rafa could, because Carlo did. Carlo
did, but from what we're hearing, it sounds like Benitez doesn't want to do anything with him, does he? If he's
is that because Benitez has got Alan and Decore in midfield?
Yeah,
because
but
I think
it's not just those two he uses. He's give Andre Gomez minutes in the Premier League. You'd think he's going to give Gabamon a chance when he gets fit.
I think that's because Andre Gomez, in those circumstances when he's come on, as a midfield free player to play as a passer, basically. That's why he's come on. You know, I think Rafa's like that. Rafa will literally look at the game situation and going, you know, looking at them and going, right, I need this, this, this. And he's got each of the midfielders lined up. I think Rafa is that tactical to where every central midfielder has a role if they're substituted on. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think I do want to give him a chance because, you know, if one of them does get injured and Tom gets a chance, maybe Tom will finally seize that opportunity. And listen, he's not going to be Everton's version of Steven Gerrard, like, you know, people were comparing him to when he first broke out. But he could also be a good squad player for maybe until we get to that level where we're good enough to be consistent top six. Because I don't think we're going to be at that level maybe until Bramley Moore opens, personally. So, you know, I like saying, unless there is a clear upgrade, in my opinion, you know, this man is a lot better than Tom Davies, and we can get a decent amount of money for Tom Davies at Tom Davies' level. But, you know, I just do think that it's just not worth it right now. I just don't think.
No. I mean, my thought on it is, it's not about whether you believe in Tom Davies or whether you want to give him a chance or whether you think he's badly treated or not. For me, is it at the point now where the situation is, I mean, as the criticism that he's been getting for years, whether you think it was fair or it wasn't, has it got to the point now where it's just impacted his game permanently in terms of his mental side of it? I think it has. I think that incident, the fact that he didn't take the shot on, shows just how terrified he is to piss off the boo boys, for lack of a better word. Because he knows if he takes that shot and he doesn't score it, if he's on the ball in that moment, he must have thought, oh my God, if I don't score this, then I'm never, ever, ever going to hear the end of it. I'm going to get dog's abuse from now on. I don't want to say he was passing the buck to Mina, but if he saw the opportunity to give it for me to play Mina in, and as you said, he thought, no, I've just got to play within myself and just get the ball to Mina, and that'll be an instant goal, and then then there's no chance I can ever get criticised, and everyone's happy. Do you know what I mean? So is it at the point now where is it got to where it was maybe with Barkley a little bit towards the end, where just the fans got on his back so much, whether it was merited, whether it wasn't, it's another debate. But we'll never see the Tom Davies who was carefree and just happy to be a bit selfish at times when it's the right thing to do, or that sort of thing. Is Tom Davies always now going to play within himself just because of what's come before? No. And if he's going to do that, then is he worth hanging on to?
He's not. I back him completely because, listen, we all say this and about all players, and listen, we all admit on this channel, the people who are on it, that we're happy to be proven wrong. We all do. We don't come on here and say our word is gospel, you have to listen to us. We don't. You know, Paul said all that stuff about Townsend and said he's happy to be proven wrong. He's proven wrong. He's not sulking about it. He's loving the fact that he's been made to look an idiot. I've said so much crap about Iwobi. I was happy to be made to look like an idiot by Iwobi. So, you know, from when he's played. But I've just got a feeling with Tom, and I feel like there is still talent there. You know, I think there is. You see it, and it is biased, and that's, as you know, we've all got our opinions on him. But anything can happen, can't you, if you've got the talent? There's players who never really did anything with their career, and then right at the end of it, on their last run, they were able to finally piece everything together. And I'm not saying that's going to be Tom Davies, but I'm saying, do you know what? If it was some random French midfielder who we'd signed from the French league, I'd probably be saying something different. But it's nice to see a homegrown player do well, isn't it? It is,
but it's not nice enough for me to just basically persist with it forever. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying, not saying we should be getting rid of Davies, like, no argument. And my point I want to make is, we know Tom Davies has got talent, but is it reached the point now where we'll never see Tom Davies' full talent in an Everton shirt? If he's going to make the most of his own career, would it be better going to a change of place?
Because I don't think we ever really knew Tom Davies' true talent. I think we overhyped him. Think about it. He played his first game for us and got compared to Steven Gerrard, and it kills us all to say it. It hurts. That guy's one of the best English midfielders to ever play football. And we all thought, this is our Gerrard. This is the player who's going to lead our midfield, and we're going to become better than the Reds, and it didn't happen.
I think
Why?
anyone who thought that was
Trust me.
was very, very setting themselves up for a very big fall if they thought
Yeah,
anything
but you know
along
what
those
football
lines.
fans are like when he had that first good run. Some of us were saying we were going to win the league last year. I fell into the trap at one point. And I was like, oh my God, we could do it. We could do something. But, you know, I'd rather have Delph gone first. I'd rather have Gomez gone first. I'd rather have Gabamin, but I'd rather Delph and Gomez go first, personally. You
I
know,
know, but
so it's
they're going to
just
be harder to shift. I mean, I'm not saying that basically, we have to get rid of Davies, but the point I want to make is that I've been trying to make as for the last 10 minutes is, has it got to the stage in Tom Davies's career now where he'll never be more than what he is at Everton if he stays here? He's basically hit his level at Everton, which is just a squad player who comes in every now and then, does a little job, annoys people every now and then, has people praising him every now and then. If he wants to get the absolute most out of himself, does he have to go somewhere else? That's the point I want to make, because
probably.
I think the evidence that I base that on is the fact that he didn't take that chance on himself shows a player who is playing within himself, who doesn't have the confidence to take that on himself. And that's sad to see. It's sad to see a player who doesn't have the confidence to try and make himself the hero.
Yeah, what about like a loan? Do we have to get rid of him? Does the loan to rebuild his confidence and then bring him back in?
Maybe, but what age is he now? I mean, I would
He's
not
only
loan him.
24, 25. He's really
No,
young still.
I wouldn't. I don't think he's that old. I think he's maybe 22, 23. I wouldn't loan him to the Championship.
1 second.
I think if he's got to go on, if he that was something we were going to do.
23.
23. If that was something we were going to explore, loaning Davies out, I think he can't go to the Championship. He's not going to lay anything down there. He's not 18. He's not 19.
Southampton.
He doesn't need them. He doesn't need to bulk up. He doesn't need to learn how to play against men. If he were ever to go out on loan with the idea that it would basically improve him and he'd come back to Everton ready to contribute something more than what he's doing currently, he'd have to go on loan to another Premier League team. Maybe, as you said, a team that's come up, like what Chelsea are doing with Billy Gilmour now. I know Billy Gilmour's a bit younger, but he's got to go to a team where he's going to be competing at the same level that Everton are competing at, which is Premier League. Do you know what I mean? It would save him it would do nothing for him if he went on loan to the Championship or he went on loan to France or something like that. I think he'd have to stay in the Premier League or at a level very similar to the Premier League, like maybe up or top end, top half Bundesliga. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's interesting, isn't it?
It's a difficult situation all around, you know. I think it's very difficult situation to look at without, you know, some form of bias either in his favour or against his favour. I think it's, you know, and he hasn't been helped by them. There's a lot of contributions that some are his fault, some of the club's fault. It's just, I think he was a player with a lot of talent, and that talent came out at the worst time for us.
Yeah.
Because if, let's say, Tom Davies was 2010, 2011, might be a completely different player because we had an identity. Tom Davies came out now with the same talent that we thought he had. There's an identity. I just feel everything's gone against him, and that's his own fault, and that's the club's fault. And it's just unfortunate to see because it's like I said, there is clear talent there, and there was clear talent.
He's not had the right managers to coach him, has he? He's had Koeman, who he looked good under, but I think Koeman was gone inside 12 months of giving him his debut. Then he had big fat Sam Allardyce, who he played a little bit under, but Sam Allardyce was never going to do anything for Davies' career. He had Marco Silva, who I just don't think was good enough for him. I mean, maybe Marco Silva's doing well at Fulham right now. Maybe he'll come back to the Premier League, but he was not good enough.
Idea, you know.
Which
Marco Silva taking him to Fulham, not this season, next season.
If Fulham come up, I don't know.
Fulham come up. Fulham 100% come up. Trust me. They're on a bit of a stinker right now, but it's like if you look at some of the teams they play and stuff and the way they play, sometimes, unless Marco Silva does a Marco Silva, Fulham, next best team in the Championship. I do think Marco Silva could get the best out of Tom Davies. You know, I think it's hard because in the end, why is Rafa going to start Tom Davies over the midfield we've got? You know, so I think exactly. It's just a weird situation and it's difficult. So, you know, I don't think any of us can truly give a right answer until the situation is present. Either Tom Davies leaves, Tom Davies gets a chance in the first team because of injury, touch wood, because no offence, Tom, our midfield's very good right now. So I don't really want anyone getting injured.
I think we just have to trust Rafa with it. If Rafa decides that Tom Davies is not for him, and an offer comes in, and Rafa's happy to accept it, because that seemed to be what the situation was in the summer. That Davies was basically told, if we get a bid and the bid's decent enough, we're happy to let you go.
Yeah,
Davies. Yeah, I think if that situation does arise, maybe let's say we do get a £5-10 million bid for Davies, and Benitez says, "Yeah, you can go, mate. I'm not bothered." I think fans should just respect that and wish the kid well, but trust the fact that Benitez has looked at him, and Benitez has got it right. Benitez has got it spot on with Damari Gray. He's got it spot on with Townsend. Benitez has got enough credit in the bank now where we're willing to trust his analysis of a player. And if Rafa Benitez's analysis of Tom Davies is he doesn't want him here because he doesn't think he's going to contribute much, then I think we should respect that. And if it goes the other way, if Tom Davies plays his way into Rafa Benitez's good books, and Benitez says, no, we're definitely keeping him around, then I think fans should respect that as well.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I think, before we end this, I do hope Tom, like Don King here says, I do hope Tom can turn his career around. And, if he did it this season, if Tom Davies suddenly started turning his career around this season, I think it would just sum everything up, wouldn't it, for this season? That it is right now, this season feels a bit like Wonderland for us.
We need to get Europe. He's been one of the players, Tom Davies,
7th at least.
Yeah, he's one of the players in our squad who has suffered the most from us not having 2 games in a week, because he would be starting every Europa League or Europa Conference League game.
Yeah, maybe that's what he needs. Europa Conference League.
That's what he did. Yeah, it's exactly what he needs, and it's a shame we've not had it before now, because we've only got into Europe maybe once in the last 5-6 years.
2017, but then what was he then? 19 still?
19, yeah.
He was still 19. A baby, so it's just...
We were playing the likes of Schneiderlin and Rooney and that, and Klassen and players like that.
If we're in Europe, if we're not Everton now and we're in Europe, which is, let's face it, it's the trajectory we're on. Maybe this is something more to talk about at Christmas, but if we're in Europe, then Tom Davies has to stay, in my opinion, because then you need more depth than usual, and Tom Davies isn't going to complain, is he? So in a situation as a European team, yes, Tom Davies is brilliant to have, because you might be able to give him more freedom, let him go further up the pitch and let him attack a bit more. So, we don't know. And I think we should trust. I agree perfectly everything you said about Rafa. I trust Rafa enough that if he makes the decision that Tom Davies has to go, then Tom Davies leaves. And listen, we hope the best for him and hope he's, his career. And, Wormy put, so what happened against QPR, Dream World. I mean, listen, we've just drew against Man United. It's Everton. You've got to learn that this is what happens when you support this club. You've probably supported it a lot more than me, so a lot longer than me, Wormy. So,
when it rains, it pours. When the sun's out, it's like the desert, isn't it? That's how wonderful the heat is. But yeah, I think we've kind of covered everything. We spoke about the game. Definitely. We spoke about what we think the plans are for the future, how we think the season's probably going to play out. We've spoken about the incident to Tom Davies. I mean, unless there's anything else that you want to raise quickly, I mean, we've got an international break now, so we're still going to have content, but it's going to be basically a little while before the next game comes up. So,
I mean, Erwin Poyer, you haven't talked about Rafa properly, or Rondon. Rafa is the best manager in the Premier League comfortably, and Rondon looked all right. That's probably the best I can get.
Benitez looks a perfect fit for what Everton are right now, which is a team which is still in the top half of the table, but or at least on paper, is a distance away from the top 4, and probably the 1 or 2 teams underneath the top 4, at least on paper, like Tottenham and Aston Villa. But if there's any manager who can get the most out of the least and hope that gap close, and hopefully help us climb above 1 or 2 of those teams who we consider our rivals, like Villa and Tottenham, it's Rafa Benitez. And with Rondon, for me, Rondon is what he is. He's just
there to do his job.
He's a player who's been brought in by Benitez because he'll do exactly what he's told. He hasn't got tons of ability.
Holds the ball up really well. Did it well against United.
I mean, I think the less we see of Rondon this season, the better. We've had these sorts of signings before. We've had the likes of Strakwalace, we've had the likes of Kone, we've had the likes of
Kone.
even players who are not strikers. We've had Alcarazes, we've had Joe Robles. We've just had players who they're getting a hands out from a manager who trusts them, and when they come in, they're going to give 100%, even if that's not particularly very good. But considering the situation we're in, if we're going to just be signing guys off the scrap heap, then I'd rather it be someone who the manager knows and trusts rather than just some randomer on loan like Sadibi who's going to come in and not really do anything. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I mean, I think we've covered everything. So thank you very much for everyone who's followed the stream. I think we've done just under an hour, which is I think a good amount of time for a Sunday evening. We're going to have more content over this next international break, so keep subscribing to the channel, keep viewing. Hopefully we'll have some more videos out in the next couple of days. We'll have to just see what everyone's availability is, but touch wood, we can get something out for you, whether it's just more player analysis, more in-depth manager analysis, more in-depth discussions about what we think is going to happen in January. But smash the like button, guys. Thank you for watching, and up the Toffees. It's a great time to be an Everton fan right now. And thank you as well to Callum for joining me.